so excited. We are finally making the soap I have been talking about for what seems like forever now, but we are finally getting to make our soap today. So before we get started, I wanted to go through and just share with you some of the colors that I'm using, all the pre-work that I have already done, because once I get this going, I'm gonna have to work pretty quickly, so I don't have a whole lot of time to explain things. So first off, I have 5 different colors here already pre-mixed up for my soaps. We're going to be doing a 5-color swirl plus white from the batters. So hopefully we're gonna be able to get this all done and hopefully it will turn out like I want it to. Working with this many colors can be a little bit daunting, so like I said, we're going over it now. So all of the colors that I have, first I have this hot pink color, and of course once I add more of the soap batter to these, it is going to lighten up these colors a bit, so they are going to appear a little bit more pastel and muted. So for the pink color, we are using Ye Olde Neon from TKB Trading. I just did a little bit of this plus a little bit of titanium dioxide to brighten and lighten it up a bit. The next color is our purple color here. This one is a blended color. It is, I would say, about 75% Reborn Purple from TKB Trading and 25% Tropical Teal from Nurture Soap. I wanted this to have a little bit more of a bluier tone purple than what Reborn Purple on its own was. It's a little bit more on the red toned purple, so I did a little bit of the blue to cool it off a bit, and this is what we came up with. Then for the blue color, we are using Tropical Teal, again, Nurture Soap with titanium dioxide. The green color here, we're using just a teeny tiny bit. This is Force of Nature from Nurture Soap, and again, titanium dioxide. And finally, for the yellow color here, we are using DNC Yellow. This is from TKB Trading. Okay, now we have all the color formulations out of the way. We're gonna go on to the fragrance. So today for our fragrance oil, we are doing a 50-50 blend of Jammin' Rock Candy plus New Rainbow Sherbet from Nature's Garden. I think that these two together just absolutely smell amazing, and I already have this pre-mixed up right here off to the side. That way, whenever we mix up everything, we can put the fragrance oil in then. And sometimes I like to do the fragrance oil in first, but since we're doing a more complicated soap design this time, I want to give myself as much time as possible, so we're not going to add the fragrance until the very end, right before we pour. Alright, and then the last note before we get started is my base oils here. I of course already poured off 1 ounce into each of the pitchers for the colored soap parts, and then I did add some titanium dioxide to this. One thing about my soap is that I feel like it never looks very white in the batter, but it typically comes out pretty white in this final soap bar, so it's a little bit of a misleading kind of color with this like creamy yellow color, but it should turn into a fairly white bar in the end. And finally, we have our lye water solution here, and I have already added my sodium lactate to this, which is a soap hardener. It's basically a liquid salt that helps your soap bars harden up and unmold quicker and easier. And today we are going to be using one of the 10 bar molds. It has been a while since I have made a soap with this mold, but I wanted to do just like a small batch. I didn't want to do a 20 bar batch or anything like that, so we're just doing the 10 today, and we will be doing a frosted top on this soap. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and combine our lye water solution with our base oils here. I'm going to give this just a very light blend just till emulsion, because I don't want to over blend this, because like I said, I need a lot of time to work. We're going to kind of under blend it just a bit because we will be blending it more with the actual color soap. Okay, and now I want to measure off some of this soap. I'm gonna kind of eyeball this. I don't want to do too much because I want to make sure I have enough for the light white kind of base color. Okay, now I'm going to quickly kind of pour just a bit of this fragrance oil into each of the colors here. I'm going to make sure that fragrance oil is incorporated into all of these batters. Okay, and I'm going to kind of beef up this green just a little bit. I kind of went on the light side in the beginning because I didn't know how dark this green was gonna be. Now I think I definitely want to mix a little bit more of that in. And greens always go a little bit yucky, so definitely gonna have to wait and see how the color looks after the cure. Okay, so we have all of our colors here, and now we have the base soap here. All right, and I'm gonna give just a really quick mix on this base oil here.
Chestnut roasting, Jack Frost nipping.
Okay, now I did give each of those colors a good mix, and I'm gonna kind of let these come to trace on their own. Like I said, I don't want to rush any of this because I do want to do some neat little swirls. And there's definitely a fine line between being too thick and too thin, so I'm gonna err on the side of caution and kind of let these come to about the texture and the thickness that I want on their own. Also, the fragrance oil is very well behaved. It is not ricing or accelerating anything. If anything, it might be de-accelerating my batter just a little bit because it's staying very nice and fluid, but I would always take that over it turning to soap on a stick, which has happened before to me a few times, and sometimes it's just very defeating when that happens. Okay, so I have given this about 5 minutes, I would say, and my batter is definitely starting to thicken up. It's still a little bit on the thinner side, but I don't want to wait too long because sometimes they can kind of speed up at the end and then you're really rushing to get everything done. So we're going to start by pouring a little bit of the white in here. All right, next I have my green color here. We're just gonna do a quick pass of this. All right, and next we have the yellow. This one's still just a little bit thinner than the other, but I think it'll be fine. So there is that pass, and I'm just kind of going just a couple passes up and down the mold. I'm hoping we end up with a pretty neat kind of color swirl in this. Okay, I'm gonna break up the next color before I do the purple. I'm gonna do just a little bit more white in here just to kind of break up some of that color. Okay, and next we're doing the purple color, and we're just gonna continue like this, just alternating between all of these colors, doing a little bit of color, then add a little bit of white in there to break it up, and then just keep going until we're through with all the pictures.
So I'm offering this sample phrase. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Chestnut roasting, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. So I'm offering this sample phrase. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Okay, I think this is going to be the last pass for each of the colors. We're just going to finish these off, and I'm just going to try to get as much of this in here as I can. Trying to get this color all over the place. I have to say, I don't think I could have picked a better fragrance combination than the ones I chose for this. Definitely given me the time I needed to work with all of this, so I'm very, very happy with that. All right, we're starting to get a little thicker, so I need to kind of work quicker through here. But luckily, whenever I tap down the actual mold, it is leveling out nicely, which is always good. All right, and finally we're gonna finish off with this last bit of our white color here. I'm gonna just top this off on the top here. right, we have all the soap in the mold here. Now I cannot help myself. I love swirling soaps, and even though you're not going to see this because of the frosted top, I still love doing it. It's just so fun. It's so fun to look at too. So we're just going to do some little swirls back and forth on the top here. All right, and I don't want to over swirl it. These colors are so light and pastel, so you're not going to see it anyway, but it's still so much fun to do, and I just love doing it. All right, so we're going to set this off to the side to harden up a bit, and I am going to prepare the soap frosting now, and I will come back when we're ready to frost it. All right, we have our piping ready. We're going to just pipe across the top here, and then I have some embeds that we will add, and we might even do some sprinkles on top as well. I have to say this fragrance oil is a little bit of a blessing and a curse at the same time, and I just realized this isn't the piping tip I wanted. Oops. Oh well, this one will do. However, this is usually not the one I use for my frosted soaps. But back to the fragrance oil. So this has actually been a blessing and a curse because number one, it definitely like de-accelerated the trace, and it made the batter very easy to work with and gave me lots of working time whenever I was doing the actual soap. However, whenever I was wanting to do the frosting, this took forever to set up and get to like a pipeable state. And I would say this is even still a little softer than I would prefer, but it is almost 10:30, and I was not going to wait much longer to have this to pipe. So we just had to work with it, and it is holding up, but I can definitely tell I wish it was just a little bit, firmer. Okay, so that is the piping. Now we're gonna go ahead and add the embeds, which I will share with you guys right now. Okay, so now that we have the piping, we have the embeds here. These are all just different color candies, and we are going to add the embeds, and we're also gonna add some little paper straws to the soap. So very carefully, I am going to add these little paper straws. I'm gonna do them onto the side like this. I'm gonna try to keep them in a color order if I can. That way it's easier to remember which ones to place where. I am so excited about the soap. I think it's absolutely adorable. So I'm so excited about this. I've been wanting to make this soap for a while now, so I'm so glad that it's finally time to make it. And I'm going to turn this just a little bit. Hopefully you can still see, but I definitely want to be careful on how I place these little embeds, so I want to make sure that I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to add 2 of these per soap. I think I want to do the little candies on top. I'm going to squish them down just a hair. I'm going to do the color in front of it. We're going to add all of these little candies. I want to make sure each one has a different color.
So I'm offering this simple phrase. Although it's been said.
All right, so those are all the little candies on top. I just want to make sure that these are all firmly placed in there. All right, and then on the side here, we're going to add these little kind of like almost like a little marshmallow twist or like a Twizzler type of shape. Now we're gonna do the color before it so that each one has a different color.
Times many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Okay, so those are all of the embeds placed. I definitely made a whole bunch of extras, but sometimes that happens. I always just like to have extra in case, because sometimes I might mispipe something and need an extra. All right, and the final touch, we are going to add these little sugar sprinkles. These are perfect. They are the exact colors of the soaps, and I was just like so excited when I saw these. I'm like, yep, I have to get those. I'm gonna try to add a little bit more than I necessarily want to end up on the soap, because once I cut these, some will definitely fall off. So that's always a little tip. Always add more of any glitter or any kind of little decorative kind of things like this. Always add more, because So most of the time, a lot of it will fall off in the cutting process. Okay, and that is pretty much it for this soap. I am so happy with it. The one thing I am hoping is that the frosting does turn a bit more white as it sits in a couple days. Hopefully it will turn a little bit whiter because I feel like that would just be perfect and the colors will really pop even more on a white frosted background. So I'm hoping that will be the case. So we're gonna let this sit at least for a day or two and then we'll come back and cut these up and see the inside of the bar. Okay everyone, I have unmolded the soap from our mold and I've let it set for about 24 hours outside of the mold just to let it further harden up a bit. I think right now it's at the perfect state to cut, and you guys, I am so excited. Like, look at how cool the sides of this look. I have been thinking about this nonstop for the last couple days, ready to cut this. So I have my little cutter here and I actually want to turn this way. That way there's no chance of accidentally nicking any of the little straws that we have in here. And the color of the frosting did settle down just a little bit. It's still pretty buttery yellow, but it's not as bright as it was, which I think is good. I wish it was a little bit whiter, but unfortunately that is not the case. So if I ever redo the soap, I will definitely do a lot more titanium dioxide in the base soap. Okay, and we are gonna make the first cut. I'm so excited to see what this looks like. I'm going to line it up. And here it goes. Okay, let's see what the inside looks like. Oh my God, you guys. Oh, I love this. Oh my gosh, this looks so cool. Psychedelic, trippy almost. I love this. Okay, we're gonna set these aside. I always love seeing what the soap cuts look like, especially with the swirled soap, because they're always going to be just a little bit different. That's one of the fun parts about swirls. I love how this looks. This is so cool. I really kind of didn't know how it was going to look whenever I was like doing the kind of pour, but I am actually really excited about this. Since it was a little bit of a thinner consistency when I poured it, I knew it would kind of have a little bit more of like wispier kind of lines and stuff. It wasn't going to be like big swashes of color, but this is actually so cool. Every single bar just looks awesome. I think this might be like my favorite soap that I have designed in a long time, if not of all time, which honestly, it could be my favorite of all time. This is just so fun. And I love this. It's crazy, like it almost kind of looks like little rainbow fish scales in certain spots. This is such a neat kind of outcome. Oh my God, like look at that. Every single one, it's like so neat. I can't get over the soap design, you guys. I love it. I'm so thrilled. And I've had my fair share of soaps not turning out anything like I had planned or envisioned. And just to have something be like even cooler than what you expected is just, it's honestly amazing. It feels so good. All right, guys, so that is how the soap turned out. I am absolutely pleased. I just can't get over how fun and how cool that pour technique was. It wasn't really anything different. Whenever I was pouring it, it was just at the perfect thin consistency where it kind of created all these little fun ripples. I'm so happy with this and I hope that you guys enjoy this soap. I will let this cure for 4 to 6 weeks, so these will not be available for sale until probably end of January, but I will keep you updated for whenever these go on sale if you are interested in purchasing any of these. Alright, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, link is below. Until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.